From tragic overdoses to shocking divorces, Ron Wood's 6 children have lived lives as dramatic as any rock and roll tale. One lost his mother to addiction and just divorced a beloved television presenter. Another was adopted but felt always second to his famous father's drinking, while Wood's youngest twins were born when he was 69 after surviving cancer. Here's what really happened to Ron Wood's children. Jessie Wood. Jessie Wood, the eldest of Ron Wood's 6 children, has endured a life marked by profound loss and personal struggles that mirror the turbulent world of rock and roll he was born into. As the son of Rolling Stones guitarist Ronnie Wood and his first wife Chrissy Findlay, Jessie's story is one of tragedy, resilience, and the complex challenges of growing up in the shadow of fame. Born on October 30th, 1976, Jessie entered a world where his parents' relationship was already strained by the excesses of the music industry. His mother, Chrissy Findlay, was a former model who had become deeply entangled in the rock scene of the 1970s, having previous relationships with music legends including Eric Clapton, George Harrison, and John Lennon, before marrying Ronnie Wood in 1971. The marriage between Jessie's parents lasted only 7 years, ending in divorce in 1978 when Jessie was just 2 years old. The first major tragedy to strike Jessie's life came in June 2005, when his mother Chrissy died of an accidental drug overdose at the age of 57. Chrissy had been found slumped on a sofa at a friend's home in West London, having taken an overdose of Valium that she had been prescribed for depression. In her final years, Chrissy had fallen into financial hardship, with Ronnie having reduced her maintenance payments, forcing her to sell some of her former husband's paintings and even consider working in a supermarket to make ends meet. She had told friends just hours before her death that she had hit an all-time low. And despite apparent reconciliation talks with Ronnie about establishing a trust fund for Jessie, she tragically died alone and in virtual poverty. Following his mother's death, Jessie pursued a career in music, following in his father's footsteps by playing guitar and bass guitar with various bands, including the Leah Wood Band, the Ronnie Wood Band, Carbon Silicon, and eventually joining the English rock band Reef in 2014. He also worked as a model, appearing in campaigns for high-end brands like Yohji Yamamoto and Liam Gallagher's Pretty Green clothing label, and was featured in British GQ magazine's style pages. Jessie's personal life seemed to stabilize when he met television presenter Fern Cotton in 2011. The couple began dating after meeting in Ibiza, and their relationship quickly became serious. They announced their engagement in December 2013 and married on July 4, 2014, in an intimate ceremony in London. Together, they had 2 children, son Rex, now 11 years old, and daughter Honey, now 9 years old. Jessie also became a stepfather to Cotton's children from her previous relationship. However, even this seemingly stable period was not without its challenges. In 2019, Cotton publicly revealed that she and Jessie had hit what she described as a rough patch in their marriage. Writing in her column for Red magazine, Cotton explained that Jessie had been away touring relentlessly while she was trying to maintain her own career and look after their children. She described how they were both desperately clinging onto their marriage during this difficult period, which culminated in what she called a 2-hour screaming match in a local park, before they managed to resolve their issues. The second major tragedy in Jessie's life came in December 2024, when he and Fern Cotton announced their separation after 10 years of marriage. Cotton shared the news on her Instagram story, writing that it was with a heavy heart that she was letting everyone know that she and Jessie were ending their marriage, emphasizing that their priority had been and always would be their children. The announcement came just days after Cotton had undergone surgery to remove 2 benign tumors from her jaw, adding another layer of difficulty to an already challenging period in their lives. Jamie Wood. Jamie Wood's story is one of the most emotionally complex among Ron Wood's children, as he navigated the unique challenges of being an adopted child in a rock and roll family, where he often felt like an outsider looking in. Born on September 19, 1973, Jamie was not originally a Wood by blood, but became part of the family through circumstances that would shape his entire relationship with his famous stepfather. Jamie was born to Jo Karslake, who would later become Jo Wood, and her first husband, Peter Green, a clothing boss. When Jo divorced Green in 1976 and began dating Ronnie Wood the following year, young Jamie was essentially raised as Ronnie's own son from that point forward. Jo and Ronnie eventually married in 1985, making the adoption official. But by then, Jamie had already spent his formative years in the chaotic world of rock stardom. The lifestyle that came with being part of the Wood family was far from stable, and Jamie bore the brunt of this instability throughout his childhood. Due to his parents' rock and roll lifestyle and Ronnie's constant touring and recording commitments, Jamie attended an extraordinary 17 different schools across multiple countries. This constant upheaval meant he never had the chance to establish lasting friendships or feel rooted in any one place, creating a sense of displacement that would follow him into adulthood. As Jamie grew into his teenage years, the pressures of his unconventional upbringing began to manifest in troubling ways. He was kicked out of multiple schools for drug-related issues, falling into the same temptations that had plagued many members of his family. The constant movement and lack of stability, combined with his father's frequent absences due to touring and his well-documented struggles with alcoholism, left Jamie feeling abandoned and resentful. In a candid interview years later, Jamie expressed the deep emotional pain he carried from his childhood, particularly regarding his relationship with Ronnie. He described feeling like he was always second compared to his father's other priorities, and spoke with striking honesty about the lack of support he felt during his most vulnerable years. There was no loyalty, Jamie said, reflecting on his father's behavior during those difficult times. He was off drunk. These words captured the profound sense of abandonment that Jamie experienced as he watched his adoptive father prioritize his music career and battle his own demons over being present for his family. Despite the chaos of his youth, Jamie eventually found his path to recovery in an unexpected way. Rather than being further damaged by exposure to the rock and roll lifestyle, he actually cleaned up by joining the Rolling Stones on tour. This experience, which might have seemed like a recipe for more trouble, actually provided him with the structure and family connection he had been missing. Being around the band and seeing the professional side of his father's work helped Jamie gain a new perspective on his family and his own potential. From this foundation of recovery, Jamie discovered his own entrepreneurial talents and business acumen. He became interested in art, partly influenced by his stepfather's own artistic pursuits, and eventually partnered with his half-brother Tyrone to run London's Scream Gallery, though the gallery later closed in 2016. Jamie also diversified his investments, becoming involved with the European franchises of the BurgerFi restaurant chain. Most significantly, Jamie found his calling in the CBD industry, founding a successful company called Woody's. After suffering a heart attack 3 years ago, Jamie returned to college to study the endocannabinoid system and deepen his understanding of cannabis and its potential health benefits. This personal health scare motivated him to create products that could contribute to overall well-being. And Woody's has since gained popularity for its range of CBD products, including a recently launched CBD kombucha line. Now, a father of 3 children himself, Jamie has transformed his troubled past into a foundation for building a successful business and stable family life. Leah Wood. Leah Wood carved out her own path in the music industry, following in her father's footsteps, while establishing herself as a talented performer in her own right. Born on September 22, 1978, Leah was the first child born to Ronnie Wood and his second wife, Jo Wood, though the couple wouldn't actually marry until several years after their daughter entered the world. Growing up as the daughter of a Rolling Stones member meant that music was always a central part of Leah's life, and she naturally gravitated toward pursuing her own musical career. She formed a self-named band that gained recognition in the music industry, with their biggest claim to fame being selected as an opening act for one of David Bowie's tours. This was a significant achievement for any emerging artist, as Bowie was notoriously selective about the acts he chose to support him on tour, and being chosen represented a major validation of Leah's musical talents and potential. Recognizing his daughter's serious commitment to music, Ronnie Wood took an unprecedented step to support her career in 2005 by launching his own record company called Wooden Records. The label was created specifically to release recordings by Leah and other artists, giving her a platform to develop her sound without the constraints and pressures of working with major record labels. This move demonstrated Ronnie's belief in his daughter's abilities and his willingness to invest his own resources and reputation in her success. In addition to her music career, Leah also worked as a model, showcasing the versatility that seemed to run in the Wood family. Her modeling work provided additional exposure and helped establish her as a multi-talented artist who could succeed in different areas of the entertainment industry. Leah's personal life found stability when she married Jack MacDonald in 2008. MacDonald would later collaborate with Ronnie on his 2007 autobiography titled Ronnie, serving as a co-writer alongside Jeffrey Robinson. This connection brought MacDonald into the Wood family's creative circle and established him as more than just Leah's husband, but as someone who understood and could contribute to the family's artistic endeavors. The couple went on to have 2 children together, a daughter named Maggie Dillon and a son named Otis Sonny David. During her pregnancy with Otis, Leah experienced one of the more amusing moments in Wood family lore when she was overdue with her second child. Keith Richards, Ronnie's longtime bandmate and close friend, jokingly suggested that she sit on an amplifier during a Rolling Stones practice session to help coax the baby out. This lighthearted moment captured the close-knit nature of the extended Rolling Stones family and showed how the band members treated each other's children as part of their own extended family. As both a mother and a working artist, Leah has had to balance the demands of raising her children with maintaining her music career. She has continued to perform and record, often collaborating with other members of her musical family, including appearing with the Ronnie Wood Band during tours in the early 2000s. Her performances with her father's band demonstrated the musical chemistry that exists within the Wood family and showed how the next generation was carrying on the family's musical legacy. Throughout her career, Leah has managed to establish herself as a legitimate artist rather than simply trading on her father's fame, earning respect within the music industry for her own talents and dedication to her craft. Tyrone Wood. Tyrone Wood chose a dramatically different path from his father's musical legacy, instead channeling his passion into environmental activism and becoming one of the most influential young voices in ocean conservation. Born on August 21, 1983, Tyrone was Joe and Ronnie's second child together, arriving about a year and a half before his parents officially married in 1985. Unlike his siblings who were drawn to music and the arts, Tyrone deliberately shunned his father's musical obsessions and instead pursued his own interests in environmental science and conservation. This decision to forge his own path led him away from the entertainment industry and toward what would become his life's work, protecting the world's oceans. Tyrone co-founded Project Zero, an ambitious ocean conservation charity that has grown into a major global environmental movement. The organization's mission is both urgent and specific: to protect 30% of the world's oceans by the year 2030. This goal is based on scientific research showing that strongly protecting at least 30% of ocean areas is necessary to help marine ecosystems recover from climate change, overfishing, and pollution. What makes Project Zero particularly effective is Tyrone's ability to leverage his connections in the entertainment world to bring attention to ocean conservation issues. He has successfully enlisted high-profile celebrities as ambassadors for the cause, including supermodel Kate Moss, actress Cara Delevingne, actor Will Poulter, singer Rita Ora, and even his own father, Ronnie Wood. These celebrity partnerships have helped Project Zero reach audiences who might not otherwise be engaged with environmental issues, turning ocean conservation from a niche scientific concern into a mainstream cultural movement. The scale of Project Zero's work is impressive, as the organization supports conservation projects spanning 30 countries and collaborates with established groups like the Global Fund for Coral Reefs and the International Coral Reef Initiative. Currently, only about 2 to 4% of the world's oceans are strongly protected, making Project Zero's goal both ambitious and critically necessary for marine ecosystem survival. Tyrone's personal life reached a milestone in 2024 when he married Faye Harris, daughter of Iron Maiden bassist Steve Harris, at Ronnie's country estate in County Kildare, Ireland. The wedding became a significant event not just for the two families involved, but also for the broader Rolling Stones community, as it provided a rare opportunity for a Rolling Stones family reunion. The guest list of 180 people included Tyrone's siblings from his father's various relationships, as well as children from other Rolling Stones members, including Mick Jagger's children, Jimmy and Lizzie Jagger, and Keith Richards' granddaughter, Ella Richards. The wedding photos captured a unique moment in rock history, showing multiple generations of Rolling Stones families gathered together in the Irish countryside. During the wedding celebration, Tyrone spoke about his close relationships with his extended family, saying, "We are all very close. I see them as much as I can, and love them very much. They're like my sisters and brothers." This statement reflected how the children of different Rolling Stones members had grown up together, almost like one large extended family, despite their father's busy touring schedules and complex personal lives. The wedding also highlighted how Tyrone had successfully balanced his environmental activism with maintaining strong family connections, bringing together two worlds that don't often intersect: serious environmental science and rock and roll culture. Gracie Jane and Alice Rose Wood. Gracie Jane and Alice Rose Wood represent one of the most extraordinary chapters in Ron Wood's family story. As these twin daughters were born when their father was 69 years old, making him one of the oldest rock stars to become a father at such an advanced age. The twins were born on May 30th, 2016, just 2 days before Ron's 70th birthday, creating a remarkable milestone that few musicians of his generation have experienced. Their mother, Sally Humphreys Wood, is a theater producer who is 30 years younger than Ron, highlighting the significant age gap that has defined this unconventional family arrangement. Sally and Ron married in 2012 after dating for just 1 year, and the twins represent their first children together, though Ron already had 4 other children from his previous relationships. The age difference within the Wood family is particularly striking when considering that there is an incredible 39-year gap between the twins and Ron's oldest child, Jessie Wood. This means that Gracie and Alice are actually younger than some of their own nephews and nieces, creating an unusual family dynamic where the youngest generation is separated by decades from their older siblings. The twins are also younger than Ron's 6 grandchildren from his other children, making family gatherings particularly interesting as they interact with relatives who are significantly older than them. Ron has been remarkably open about how much joy and meaning the twins have brought to his life, particularly given his age and health challenges. He has described cuddling with Sally and the twins in bed as his idea of heaven, saying that any time he is with his wife and daughters represents the best moments of his life, and that nothing else can compare to those intimate family moments. This sentiment reveals how profoundly the experience of late-in-life fatherhood has affected him. The twins' birth took on even greater significance in the context of Ron's health struggles. In 2017, Ron was diagnosed with lung cancer during what should have been a routine checkup. The diagnosis came as a shock, but he underwent successful treatment and was declared cancer-free the following year. This health scare fundamentally changed his perspective on life and family, and he has credited his cancer diagnosis with making him even more grateful to enjoy the twins, and expressed how it made him want to be around longer to watch them grow. The twins have grown up in a remarkably privileged environment. Splitting their time between the family's medieval house in Hertfordshire, complete with topiary hedging and a tennis court, and traveling around the world during Rolling Stones tours. Sally has documented much of their childhood on social media, showing them painting rainbows on garden walls during the COVID-19 pandemic to support healthcare workers, learning to walk in personalized trainers with their names embroidered on the straps, and accompanying their parents to various family events and Rolling Stones concerts. Both Sally and Ron have spoken about how well the twins have adapted to their parents' night owl schedules, typically going to sleep around 9 p.m. and not waking until 8:30 or 9 in the morning, with just one feeding each during the night. Ron has joked that having twins at his age hasn't been entirely foreign to him since he already had experience as a father and grandfather, though he acknowledges that the energy required is significant for someone in his 70s.